Wanted to come on and do a little late night stream, find out who's still available. But I wanted to follow up to last night's video about the 1,000 point somewhat prediction slash guess, or just sharing my opinion on the direction of the Dow Jones. And so we actually did get that 1,000 point number, but yet just in the wrong direction. And so I wanted to actually respond to a couple comments that I received in regards to that last post. And so I would just read through a couple of them. But yet one of my main things that I wanted to bring to you guys' attention was the idea are you surprised that it was actually 1,000 point, or is it the direction that it went in? Because to me, the idea that it was 1,000 points in a single day, setting another record in 48 hours, to me is very telling of how artificial the financial markets really are. So whether it was up or down, it's never happened before. So here we have two events within a 48-hour time period that lets me know that the true state of the financial markets are all phony, fake. This is not really sound fundamental investing going on, because my question that I would then put out there is, who actually bought into the rally? Is it because of Trump saying or kind of hinting at the idea that people should buy the dip, or what? So I'm interested in finding out your thoughts. But after seeing 1,000 points in a single day setting another record, it happened to be in a different direction than I was anticipating. But yet, who is the one that was the cause of that rally? And then the second is, how long can they continue to sustain this up, down roller coaster ride of financial investing? And then once again, I really don't believe that having 1,000 point rally within a day's trading really instills confidence back into a lot of investors, because as I was mentioned from last night's stream, actually talking to a few people that's, in the markets, they don't sound like they were confident whatsoever at the political system. Nevertheless, all the things happening around it. So I wanted to definitely, share my thoughts with you on where this is going and how I believe that whether it's 1,000 a day, the question is, will it be able to sustain this, and will it go upward or stay even keel or continue the bear market downward? So with that being the case, we'd love to hear your thoughts. And so wanted to welcome, we got James, Lanya, Jesse says, gaps filled, market suddenly forgot the government is shut down. Yeah, so that's why I think that, because it's an artificial pump up, I don't think that it was actually some real investors coming in there buying the dip. I believe that it's all a part of the idea of keeping the same illusion going that everything is healthy. Because once again, if you go on Fox News, and so I was actually scrolling through some of the feeds that I subscribe to as far as the mainstream news there, and there's a lot of people very optimistic and positive, saying that, oh man, this is a great rally, this is a great rally. But yet, when you hear articles like this, it says the Dow soars 1,086 points in a miraculous comeback. It's called a miraculous comeback. And so it looks like within 48 hours, Wall Street received some type of gift from Santa or whoever. But yet it definitely wasn't the common folk out there investing in these markets, because from everybody that's watching at this current moment, I would imagine that, and by a show of hands, if you guys want to chime in, let me know if you participated in, if you've been actively participating, whether it be from day trading to make some little profit off of this, or if you've actually, added to your portfolio holdings, give or take all this roller coaster ride that we're on. And I would imagine that, a lot of people aren't out there buying stocks and whatnot. So myself, I know personally, I would have nothing to do with that, just because of the uncertainty of it, and the idea that it has more of a feeling to me of what they consider investing to be more gambling than anything else, because we're told to put your money into something that is clearly overvalued. And so once again, for those that are technical, all the details behind it, but just for the very simple people that don't know much, which, in reference to stocks, includes myself, the whole PE ratio, the price to earnings ratio, is way over which lets me know that there's some artificial propping up going on here. It says, somebody says, sold my puts last Friday. So people are definitely going to profit from this fall. It says the market is extremely erratic. It's not acting like a normal market. There should be stable increases and decreases. So yeah, more. So my thing would be stable, not just sudden drops. 650 points or 683 points and on Monday in half a day. And then the day after Christmas, when the markets open up, it closes at 1,086 points. And what really makes this all newsworthy is the idea that it's been the 48-hour miracle, like from Monday having a record and then Wednesday having a record. It's never happened before like this, and why now? So for me, that's very alarming. It's not exciting whatsoever. So in response to some of the comments from last night's live stream about, some people mentioned 1,000 points, you got it backwards. It's the wrong direction. Regardless if it's the wrong direction or not, it's still 1,000 points. They set a record in a single day. Like, that's still something that you should be questioning and wondering, how the hell does that happen in a true market type of environment where people are actually investing. I don't think people are investing. This is, to me, in my opinion, this is gambling at its highest form. Because as I was watching some of the Fox and MSNBC, some of the mainstream news stories where they have, hedge fund people and equities and day traders on there giving their 2 cents on it. And I've noticed there was more day traders that they're getting comments from, and they're excited because they're actually just trading this volatility. They're making a profit off of this. But yet the average person who's invested and who's put their entire life savings into these markets, they're not trading these markets. They're buying and holding. And so millions of people are holding on to indexes or single stocks or whatever it is that their advisor has put them in, and they don't have the privilege of betting against or shorting these rallies or whatnot. And so they're buying and holding it, expecting some type of increase in the future. And that's, in my opinion, the true danger there, because you can't really say that I don't think it's going to be safe to hold a lot of these companies out here that are all based upon consumption. Like I heard something about consumer confidence was high because shopping numbers, Amazon numbers was a record high. Walmart is doing good. So once again, it's seasonal because right now it's a holiday season. A lot of people were shopping. And so because they're shopping, they're spending money. And of course, every company looks good when people are spending. But once again, a couple weeks later, a couple months later, when people get those credit card statements in the mail saying that they owe this and owe that, we'll see how many defaults and delinquent payments are added on top of that. And then also, once we hit this new year, if this government shutdown is extended, there's a lot of people that won't be getting paid pretty soon. So, if they didn't get paid over the holidays, they still charge our credit card. We're going to have a lot of government employees. It's going to be encountering an increase. So definitely having this 1,086 point increase in the Dow, and I think it was 500. Let me see here. I'll actually pull it up. So it says the Dow rose 1,086 points, gaining 5%. It says the S&P 500 also soared 5%, and the NASDAQ was up 5.8%, pulling out of a bear market territory. So it looks like having increased 5% all the way around, we're no longer in a bear market, if you're willing to believe that. But as I just mentioned, setting history on the down and up lets me know that who's going to sustain this. How will they sustain this for the rest of this week, Thursday, Friday, and then enter into the new year? And just off a gut feeling, somebody let me know if I could be completely wrong, but based upon just the current trends, where we're at, and just the environment of hostility amongst political figures and everything else that's happening, I'm not too confident in things improving. So with that alone, lets me know that I personally would get the hell out of Dodge, in my opinion. It says, Mike, what do you think is going to happen tomorrow? Well, once again, tomorrow is going to be more effort to sustain this 1,000 point increase. So I would anticipate some slow movements throughout the day, but it might end in the green again. And so it looks like an asserted effort to maintain things in the green ending this year, I would imagine, so that consumer confidence can continue to pick back up and they can continue that narrative of everything's safe. You know, we're in the economic recovery, the economy is going well. So I would anticipate perhaps tomorrow seeing some more positive news, give or take what happens with what our current president mentions as he's over in Iraq. And of course, you know, the mainstream news is trying to spin off some negative based upon him just speaking his version of truth and speaking off the cuff, not reading from a teleprompter, you know, puts him in a lot of trouble. But depends on what he says and what the Mnuchin does, and just overall political environment in general. We'll see, but I would anticipate some type of green tomorrow, because it looks like, based upon this current record of 1,000 points, a single day record, they're going to want to sustain that, because the last thing you would want to do if you were artificially pumping this market up is just to show that it was a one-day pump and dump to where it then sells off tomorrow. So because of that rally, I would anticipate more green throughout this week. But once again, they're playing with fire, because it's not real. It's not real. It's, in my opinion, it's not real people out there deciding to add to their portfolio for the future. The whole idea of buy and hold for your true retirement, I don't believe that or buy that. Since I never liked the stock market all my life of 56 years, because I am not of the system. It looks like I just saw some lighting. So it got a little dark on me real quick, but keep it moving. You still can see me a little bit. It says, we are so screwed. Central banks are doing all the buying. And so that is the dead truth. If central banks are doing the buying, and then how long are they willing to keep this thing going? And I would imagine, based upon the ability they have of printing and bringing fiat currency into existence, they can do this for quite a while, in my opinion. It says, be glad to be taken away by this mob, ready for glory. We still got 2 years, Robert McKenna, because of as we've all noticed, all the mainstream news commentators and economists and all those that are, you know, probably aware or told to follow the script, they're talking about 2020. So that still buys us a little time, at least a year plus, of trying to prop this thing up. But yet there's too many loopholes to keep intact, to keep this thing from really unraveling. It says, don't fight the market, roll with it. So that's it. So if you are aware and you know how to trade and you know how to take advantage from a technical standpoint, then this is probably a great way to actually make some profit off of all this. But for the average person here, including myself, I'm not a technical analyst or a trader or anything of that nature. You know, as I always mention, the very channel, this channel's name is Rethinking the Dollar. And I'm thinking, like, after all this stuff unwinds, when we really experience what this is all about, which is a end of the fiat currency debt enslavement, that's when I'll be able to, I believe, in those watching, to be able to position themselves in a more favorable way, because we'll have something tangible, physical, and historically of value outside of debt instruments. It says all fabrication, 100%. Says they're going to do what they always do. It says the only way to make money in this market is to do credit spreads. Tony, if you know how to do credit spreads, do what you do. Or, you know, shine a little light, direct your boy to where I can learn some new skills in credit spreads. I wouldn't mind learning about that myself, especially if this thing continues on for a couple more weeks, a couple more months. It says, got me a night, but they come and they would take it soon. I lay it down because I hate with war. It says, take your money and run. It says, we don't make the game. We don't make the rules. Just play the game. You can make money either way it goes. Yeah, PPT. The plunge protection team says all part of the plan. Have to wait for the next election. What is it? Wait for the next election for what? Says I'm 56, been hating the system too long, too tired, going home. Yeah, man. But yeah, so basically just wanted to get on briefly because I'm actually just getting in, but definitely wanted to comment on this miraculous, as it says here, the Dow soars 1,086 points in a miraculous comeback. Now, can this miraculous comeback be sustained will be the question. And in my humble opinion, it will be hard to do because whoever keeps this thing afloat is not the average person watching us right now out here actually buying something to hold with the expectation of receiving something in the long run. Like it's very concerning to me that it appears that investing has taken on a new form ever since the Great Recession, and monetary policy has heavily influenced the returns on people's investment. And so we're not even talking about all the vehicles they've parked out there as far as what's in people's retirement. Then you got the public, you got pensions that are invested in the corporate debt, junk debt, government debt, and all that stuff is all entangled in this. And so we're just talking about the equities market, but yet it goes a lot deeper. It says opinion on decentralizing the central banks. That's a good question there. So decentralizing the central banks. My only concern would be the process at decentralizing the central banks, because the current model of banking is all interconnected. So I'm not sure how we would decentralize the banking sector, whether we're talking about commercial banks or central banks, because they're all in the same line of work, which is the creation of debt, whether it be through fractional reserve lending or from central banks from actual debt monetization. So not sure how that would work in regards to banking. So the best thing to do, which would be unheard of, would be to put the power of credit and money creation back into the hands of the governments, even though our government, in my opinion, wouldn't know the first thing about maintaining a sound balance sheet, where we can't even, maintain our balance sheet or come up with a budget, and we're borrowing from somebody. So, our entire government is based upon borrowing. It says, I'm not a trader, the heck with all this. So yeah, not being a trader, you have two options. You buy and hold, or you run for cover. It says, Emir is too tired of all this, won't stop. I think about withdrawing all of my dollars from the bank. Yeah, Harpo, that's, I hear, I think it was, I was watching a commentator earlier mention about how, based upon Steve Mnuchin's tweet about the too big to fail banks being liquid enough to meet depositors' demand if there was a need for withdrawal, got me to thinking about, why would he mention that, and why would he be talking about the too big to fail banks? Because if everyone knows that they've grown bigger as far as what they've taken onto their balance sheet, they don't really have the cash in hand to meet demand. If everybody from the too big to fail banks went down there and tried to get what they think is theirs, there's not enough paper in circulation to do that. So that would definitely be a problem. So the banks, in my opinion, aren't liquid enough anyway to meet the withdrawal money that would be needed to put cash in people's hands. It says, very bad pain for all of us. We all need to unite to overcome the upcoming events. Yeah, and I think as always, after things unfold, people will unite, because we'll either know the truth as far as who's behind this, which ultimately boils down to central banking and the government's using the central bank as a crutch, or there'll be so much chaos to where people will turn on each other in a state of panic and trying to survive. And that's like on some Mad Max type worst case scenario stuff that I don't even like touching that type of stuff. It says Trump needs to raid the Federal Reserve and imprison or all the banksters. Yeah, I don't know if that's going to be something that would fly. It says they're getting rid of all of us. That's okay, but going to glory. You keep mentioning about leaving. It's not time to leave here until your number's up. But in the meantime, you're still here. You got something to do. I'm sure God has something for you to do. You got a part to play in all this. On a positive note, it says Trump will never raid the Federal Reserve. I do agree 100%. So my thought is, my question I want to put out there to you guys before I log off, because I just wanted to log on for a quick minute and to share with you my thoughts on how, even though last stream I mentioned the Dow would drop 1,000 points, I was correct on 1,000, just in the wrong direction. And that's not a good or bad thing, because we set a new record, and setting a new record in a single day doesn't help at all in regards to what's going on. So with that being the case, getting ready to log off, wanted to find out your thoughts. What are you guys anticipating for the rest of this week? Let me know whether it's going to be in the red and the green. Any predictions out there on how many points we'll see tomorrow? Will it be another 1,000 piece or what? I'm imagining and guessing it'll probably end off at about a 500 piece as far as points is concerned, just because I would imagine over the last several weeks, it's been several days of 300, 400, 500. So that seems like an ideal way of not exerting over or too much confidence that proves that this is artificial, because to have two 1,000 point days don't seem like it would be believable. I don't think people will believe that. So I would imagine let's go for even 500 points tomorrow. So that's about 500 points in the Dow. We'll go for another 2.5%. So let's say another 2.5% all the way across the board with the Dow, with the S&P, and the NASDAQ. And so we can meet again and see if that's correct or not. Or, on a realistic situation, it could be in the red. And, it goes to show that 1,000 was just a pump and then a dump. So with that being the case, definitely let me know your thoughts before I log off real quick. Appreciate you guys joining in on such short notice. As I was mentioning, I was just getting in, so I didn't have time to set up my traditional RT Live Talk format, but I enjoy this as well because it gives me a chance to connect with you guys directly and share my opinions and my thoughts. As always, this is purely entertainment. I'm just doing this because I'm a concerned patriot, concerned citizen, and I have some opinions and thoughts I want to share. And so far, it looks like my opinions and thoughts seem to be in line with what's going on, that things are not looking good. Says I already cashed out Canadian 401k 3 months ago at 1% loss. Buddies at work are at 10% loss. Tried to warn them. Whew, Joe T, that's man. So, it looked like you took a 1% loss in comparison to a 10% loss. You saved yourself a lot of headache there in the short term. So definitely, I'm assuming your friends might eventually catch on to this and join this escape party. Says, Mike, please look at this article. Let me see here. Where's that article? Sunray Austin. Looking for the article and the link. Put it up there again because I'm actually on my phone, so not sure if I can click it and read it. But worst case scenario, I'll definitely take a look at it. Go to rethinkingthedollar.com and shoot me an email. Include it in there, and I'll definitely try to get to it. Said we got 1,000 points and more, so don't worry, the 1,000-point word will be soon. Oh, 100%. And so a part of me getting on tonight was I made sure I replied to everyone that left a comment saying that, it was like someone said, did you mean the rise in 1,000 points? And another person said, wrong direction, dude. It's 1,000 plus a day. So I replied to every single person that made a comment about me being wrong and mentioned like, am I actually wrong? Or are you surprised at all that it was 1,000 points in general and it happens to be in the other direction, which proves more of my point of how, artificial this really is. So, but definitely, man, it's been great hanging out for a quick minute. Appreciate you guys for joining me tonight. Definitely, if anybody's watching this after the fact, I got negative 300 by Brian. He says a green day for them or two, then crash. Okay, say one more Black Friday before end of year. Okay. Says 100 points up, 200 points up. All right. Any more guests out there? Says, what do you think it looks like when the market's correct? Sean, when the market's correct, in my opinion, I would assume that they will correct to what would probably have been normal, a normal consistent trend if it wasn't for Fed monetary policy injecting all this artificial stimulus into the economy, which took not only our national debt from 10 trillion to 21 trillion within this 10-year time frame. And if you look at all the graphs, of course, we got 10 trillion and then we go up to 21 trillion. And along with that, upward spike, so did the Dow. So, I'm not sure. I want to say the Dow was probably like at 10,000, 9,000 or something like that, during the Great Recession. And now it's 22, 23,000. So if all that was true, sound monetary and financial policy being implemented to the markets, I would imagine we should be at 10. We should be at 11, 12,000, in a safe, incremental increase over time, which is what, markets have been prior to, this 1971 removing the gold standard, when everything just, hit the little upward spike. But so based upon the fact we're in a debt-based economy, if things do correct, everything, all the artificial stimulus, all those trillions upon trillions of fiat currency that's been created have to go somewhere. So I can see the Dow going up, even further after this next injection comes into play. But if it was to correct because the economy locks up or there's a credit crisis, Oh, I mean, we hear people say 70,000. I mean, I'm sorry, 70%, 80% correction easily. So, and that might just be, some real type of numbers there. Because I mean, to me, a crash would mean a complete loss in confidence, which means that everybody's going to be looking to scramble and sell. But at the end of the day, the problem is who's going to be buying. So there's going to be lots of capital lost. And then on the other end of that, nothing's really lost. It's just transfers. So the people that's shorting all this and this crash, there's thousands of institutions, I believe, just shorting the markets right now. Like, strategically, like that's an option in the financial sector to short and to just prosper on the way down. So I would imagine, I don't know who's going to be doing it, but everybody that's in the know who has a skill set are preparing to make money as this thing goes down. So money is never lost. It's transferred, and it's going to go from the savers and investors, those that have done the sound financial advice they were told, buy and save and hold for the long run. Those are the people that will come out short on the other end because they're the ones that's going to lose everything. And then the 1% of the 1% that's owns everything are the ones probably going to be short and it makes the most money. So I see a war between the Fed and the executive branch. Definitely. I would agree 100%. Omni got his predictions. We say 3,600, NASDAQ 66, 666, and Bitcoin $225,000. So Omni, is that at the end of 2019, or is that when everything unravels, or what? It says, sorry, take over. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, man. The whole LIBOR situation. Yeah. From Lynette Zhang. She's done a good job of covering that. That's going to be a real issue. That will be a real issue when that comes to fruition. Joe T says Bitcoin to zero. Yeah, I doubt that seriously, just because it's a new avenue out of a dying system. And because at the end of the day, it's the finite supply of those actual coins in circulation and that will be available. The scarcity factor makes it of value down the line when you're looking to transfer out of fiat into something to hold in the short term. And so it says silver did. Oh yeah, so I saw silver. I saw it got up to 15,016 cents, and so it went from 1478 at the end of Monday to 1516, which for silver, given the fact that they've been heavily hammered down over the last couple of years, that was definitely good news seeing that in the green. Definitely good news seeing that in the green. Says they don't stop forking Bitcoin equals inflated coin. KH, yeah, they don't. You can fork it all you want, but as far as the initial coin that everything is forked from, there's only one Bitcoin core, and that's what everybody's forking from. So you can have as many forks as you want, which will expand the supply in those new coins. But the original of the original is a finite number, and those are the ones that's like that's like the beginning. And so the beginning tends to always hold value, as opposed to all those copycats out there that, once again, you got to think about, there's trillions upon trillions upon trillions of paper floating around from the US, from the EU, from all the other countries, and they're all going to be rushing out of savings, stocks, buying all that stuff that's going to be exposed for what it is, and they're going to be looking to go somewhere. People are going to look to transfer their purchasing power from something that's losing value and confidence is lost into something that is a trend. Cryptocurrencies are going to be a major trend as an escape valve out of equities for sure, because you still have everything happening on Wall Street. There's still, even though you read the news saying Wall Street is turning their back on Bitcoin, yeah, they've spent millions of billions of dollars building infrastructure. They're not running. They're just making you believe that there's not going to be a value so that they can get more of it. But then, as always, everyone knows the foundation of everything is to get your weight up. The heavier you are, the better you'll be, in my opinion. And so definitely, at the end of the day, you know where not to be. And that's the things that you, A, don't have, and B, that is a part of a rigged system that is designed to keep you trapped in it. Says the world is pretty much on digital currency already. That's very true. Big Bang Chief. How you doing, my friend? And so, yeah, once again, there's 30 trillion, or there's there's a lot more than that, but 30 trillion in regards to retirement portfolio assets, of which is all digital. Like, and just to show you it's digital, there's only 1.5 or whatever trillion of actual physical paper available on this planet. So that gap between 1.5 and 30 trillion or whatever trillion on top is all digital, and it's in somebody's bank account. And so your bank statement says you have A, B, C, D, or how many ever dollars in there, but you will not be able to go to the bank and get all of that out if you are, holding everything in there. So somebody says gold, it says gold, Bitcoins, gun, God, water, and oatmeal. Okay, first time I've seen someone throw in oatmeal. It says Bitcoin equal medium of most exchanges exchange. Fact. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, when it comes to Bitcoin, I personally see the value in it. So I'm not up here saying that it's something that people should run from. I wouldn't tell you to run to it. I would tell you to do your own homework and, put your liquidity where you feel it would be the safest, and as well as retain most of its purchasing power would be my 2 cents on the deal. It says Litecoin partnership with the UFC. Yeah, I saw that. UFC, it's big, but it's not like that big to me, because I don't really watch it like that. But of course, that's just another avenue of adoption to put out there for publicity. So I guess that's good. It says, have you been watching the 56 laws Trump passed? The news doesn't cover it, but action speaks louder than words. New 56 laws Trump passed, that actual number, I'm not familiar with all of them. So I'm assuming you're referring to executive orders. I've watched and heard about some of those. It says 1 BTC will always equal 1 BTC. 100%. And it says go to SE Bullion and buy silver. Harpo, very true, my friend. And if you want to be a blessing, feel free to use the link that I'm going to put at the bottom of this video to support the channel via the fact that, I'm an affiliate of theirs. It says Digibyte blockchain heavily undervalued, not just my opinion. Do your own research. Michael Moore, I agree 100%. Digibyte is definitely something that I am aware of and actually like myself. And the fact that it's at 0.01 cent right now, and it was at 0.00 cent a couple of weeks ago, I regret not scooping some of those things up. It says this went up away 1,100 points in one day. All stocks became overbought with the RSI tomorrow down 300 to 400. Okay, so we got another prediction there, 300 to 400%, 300 to 400 points down tomorrow. And so, so with that being the case, I'm gonna log off. Just wanted to check in to share my thoughts on last night's video, and then to get your guys' thoughts on what we should expect. I anticipate a little bit of green to finish off this year, just because if they don't keep it green and we see some more red tomorrow, I would anticipate much more red in the days ahead, because it would prove that this 1,000-point historical run was completely artificial. And that's the last thing I would hope that they would want the people to think, just because, once again, we're talking about numbers here, Dow points up and down, but these are people's lives at the end of the day. These are people that, hardworking Americans, as citizens in general. We talk about all markets at the end of the day, but the Dow kind of leads the world. These are hardworking people that have set aside and actually, follow the advice of what was considered sound 20, 30, 40 years ago. And I'm referring more so to the baby boomers now that will be the ones that will be the most impacted. Because as I was telling some family members yesterday over dinner, was that, me being a little bit younger and already questioning the narrative of what I should do with my life and my finances, never bought into the whole idea of socking something aside in somebody else's possession and anticipating it being there when I get older. To me, that's, a gamble. So I'm willing and wanting to take risks solely upon myself and be somewhat of an active investor, so that if I lose it all, it's on me. And if I do well, it's on me. It's not because of someone who has a certificate that they received from the same people that's, rigging the market against us, in my opinion. But with that being the case, be safe, be blessed. Just want to get on tonight. Just got in late, didn't have a chance to do a normal stream. Definitely, if you guys were back and forth enjoying this little chat and sharing your thoughts, Give me a thumbs up just so more people can find out about the community and join us for more future RTD Live talks and things of that nature. Be blessed, be safe. I look forward to seeing you guys hopefully tomorrow if everything pans out from here and doing well. So other than that, it says up 1,000 today, down 1,000 tomorrow. All right, Ami. So be good, people. See you guys later. God bless.